Indian River Connections brings you the first source you can watch for truth on board decisions in Indian River County. The Board Report, where taxpayers and policymakers intersect. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite platform to get notified when we go live on Fridays at 7 p.m. Visit IndianRiverConnections.com for more.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Board Report brought to you by Indian River Connections. I'm Joann Binford, and joining me today is Thomas Augustus, Editor-in-Chief of the Sunshine Journal. Hey, Thomas.
Hey, Joann. How are you?
I'm doing really good. Today's a really great day because we have our special guest today, and that is Taylor Dingle, Vero Beach's youngest ever city council member.
Oh, man. That's exciting. Yes, some things happened at the city, and Taylor's going to fill us in on probably the bigger news about the Three Corners project. So I'll leave it at that and let him come on and help us out.
Yeah, but before we get started, I want to let everybody know a little bit about Taylor, because Taylor's a proud son of a hardworking Pittsburgh family, and he brings integrity and dedication to his role as a Vero Beach City Council member, being the youngest. And he was elected in 2023. So if you guys don't know who Taylor is, Taylor serves us with passion, and he draws on his experience from his historic preservation and utilities commissions to champion responsible growth and community values. So Taylor is committed, he's a committed husband and father to a newborn son that he has at home today. And he's showing us his commitment by running again and doing a great job on the city council. So let's welcome Taylor Dingle to the stage.
Joann, thank you so much for having me. Good to see you, Thomas. I'm happy to
be
the
Taylor.
Board Report, the Indian River Connections. I'm here to make connections, so very happy to be here.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. It's really an honor to have you here with us today, Taylor.
Well, you mentioned being the youngest city council candidate. You got to pick better times. Friday nights at 7 o'clock, but it's all right. I made the time. We're all
but you're a new dad, so you're not going anywhere.
I'm actually live at City Hall because I spoke to the wife. She didn't think that she could get Eli down to go to sleep for the night. So with the noise, he gets a little bit rowdy in the evening. So I'm here at City Hall streaming live.
Well, that is cool.
Yeah.
Taylor, tell us the big news about Clear Path and the Blue. As we know, there was a great plan by Clear Path. It swung you, even though they didn't have financing, and we had a unanimous decision for that plan. And then at the last hour, it seems like they worked with the people at the Blue. So share what happened.
That's right, Thomas. As you know, you've been following it through this whole process. We just received the official letter of intent by ClearPath, and the biggest news is that they're actually going to be teaming up with Madison Marquette. It's going to be a 50-50 joint venture. In my opinion, this is probably the best path to success for this project. In the current economy and everything going on, the uncertain future, to have two powerhouses team up like this, it's like having Hulk Hogan and Macho Man Randy Savage, the mega powers, come as one. So I'm very excited for it. And hopefully in the near future, we can have both representatives from ClearPath and Madison Marquette come back to City Hall and address the council of what we can expect moving forward. And I can get into that a little bit if you like, or you just let me know. We have a lot going on at the city.
Yeah, it says in the letter, it says, we write jointly on behalf of ClearPath Services, LLC and the Blue LLC to formally announce the creation of a new master development entity that is proposed to lead the redevelopment of Three Corners. What does that mean? Because it's not just ClearPath anymore running the show, although obviously Randy Lloyd is the head of ClearPath and is out front in this. But what does the master development entity, how's that shake out? Have they shared any of that with you in the organizational structure?
No, not yet. We'll have to see how this dynamic works. Joann, I'm not sure if you remember. I know Thomas does. We had to go through 2 rounds of selecting a developer for this site. And round 1, I was set on Suda because I saw they had Madison Marquette as part of their team. I reviewed every developer very closely, did thorough research. Madison has the history, the portfolio, the record to complete such project. ClearPath, I can't, their proposal was spectacular. I can't argue against that. And I think with Madison Marquette now jumping on, they also recognize, because what ClearPath did in the second round, they did exactly everything they needed to do. They listened, they learned, they revised, they toned their proposal down, they made it more realistic, because that's the easiest part, the vision. But it's the execution that's the hardest part, having the funds to complete such a project. Madison Marquette, they're the operators, they're the developers, and they're the financiers all rolled into one. So hopefully they make a good team.
Yeah, and they've done quite a few large projects. We've discussed it here on the program. At Madison Marquette, they're unique in that, like you just said, they're the financiers, and then they're in it for the long haul. They operate a lot of the hotel stuff and food vending and different things in these types of projects. So they tend to stick around. They don't sell their portion off to someone else.
That's right. If the viewers who are familiar with Washington, D.C., the wharf along the water, I know many representatives and many staffers who live at the wharf. That's a Madison Marquette. That's a piece of their portfolio.
To Frozen Land.
One of their past projects. So it would be exciting to see what they can do. My hopes here, nothing's set in stone, so don't take my word for it. I'm ambitious. I hope that we can have finalized negotiations, by December or January or February, so they can start in the construction phase. And what you'll see in the documents, I'm sure you viewed them, Thomas, phase 1, they're going to be starting along the waterfront. So they're calling it a waterfront village. They're going to develop that. They're going to put the docks in, the skate park under the bridge, and they're going to build parking. So essentially it's going to be first phase. The public is going to have access to it as a park, which so many people have wanted to be on this piece of property because it just sat vacant for so long. So hopefully we can do a lot of events there, even 4th of July, celebrating America's 250th anniversary. That would be a great spot to watch the fireworks shoot off on Memorial Island. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm the youngest one here. And, if I continue doing a good job and keep pushing and able to win my reelection this year and so on and so forth, I hope to see this to completion.
It seems like phase 1 would happen pretty quickly. Did you guys get any estimate of time once construction starts? Obviously they got to negotiate the finality of everything with the city, but do you know how long like phase 1A would take?
I don't. Once the ink dries, then we'll be able to tell when that would work out. And hopefully now that they're working as a joint venture, maybe they'll give us another project overview and have those timelines within there. That would make the most sense to me.
And just for the viewers, 1A is basically they're going to do what they call a horizontal infrastructure site, remediation, all the different things, build the bulkhead out for the docks, and they'll construct the waterfront village and the marina docks, and there'll be a skate park and parking, like you said. And 1B, immediately after that, is workforce housing, mixed use at post office site across Indian River Boulevard. And then the power plant redevelopment would be phase 2, and 3 would be water waste treatment site on the other side, south of the main site, correct?
That's right. And if you think about it, here in the city of Vero Beach, we're about 3 miles along the Indian River Lagoon. We lack public areas that, everyday citizens can go to other than Riverside Cafe. That's really about it. It's mostly private residential, or it's, these private facilities like Quail Valley. They have the River Club on one side and they have the hotel on the other on Royal Palm Point. So it's just going to be a spectacular experience for everyday citizens. I'm very fortunate to be invited over to Quail to walk along the waterfront. It's beautiful. It's breathtaking to, have a drink, see the sunset, enjoy that type of experience. And soon we will have that here in the city of Vero Beach that everybody can go to.
Yeah, I think a lot of the residents were really interested in something that we were going to be able to utilize, and enjoy ourselves, instead of it being just for people that were going to purchase something. But the idea of having a park there, and a skate park, and the skate park under the bridge also gives you that shade for the kids to be at the skate park, because it's going to be under the bridge, right?
That's right. It helps with the sun.
Mm-hmm.
It gets hot here
Yeah.
in the summer months, so they can stay cool under the bridge.
Yeah, because we've got a skate park out in Sebastian, and that hardly gets used because it's so hot out.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm looking forward to it. I'll keep you both posted as this rolls along. It's one of the reasons why I wanted to get involved, to be a part of this process. And with them teaming up, I think we're going in the best direction possible.
So I wanted
Taylor,
to ask.
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you go first, Joann.
Well, I really wanted to ask Taylor something. It's more on a personal note, because you are from the younger Gen Z generation. And I wanted to ask you how Charlie Kirk's life and his turning point affected you and changed your life.
Well, thank you for asking that, Joann, and bringing up Charlie. Not a lot of people are. On September 10th, the past couple of days, the best part of my day is when I get home from work. I open that door, I see my 10-month-old Elias. He sits up, he looks at me, he smiles. I see my wife. I was looking forward to going to the Indian River Republican Executive Committee to give them a State of the City address, and I turned on the news, and I followed it from the moment that they announced he was shot to when President Trump took to social that he was pronounced dead. And what's so really bothering about all of this is, if you go on social media now, you can see it. You can see it's well captured, the shot, the moment of impact, the execution. And it's just so unsettling, and it's so bothering to know that just because of his views and him going out to these college campuses, put a target on his back and made somebody, sorry, it's so emotional, because being a father now, I put myself in his shoes, knowing that Charlie's, his favorite moment was seeing his two kids. I saw one clip where Charlie was on Fox and Friends, and his little girl was running up to him after they were done filming. Charlie was, he was a patriot. To go to college campuses, to start Turning Point USA when I was the chairman for the Young Republicans, we worked very closely with Turning Point USA, Turning Point Action. What he was doing was so incredible, because at a place where indoctrination is probably at its worst on college campuses, he was opening up free forums to debate him and have other students question the way they believe. And I don't know who's going to come after him as Turning Point USA going to college campuses. But what he did was so impactful. It was revolutionary. It was innovative, and they have to keep it going, because as you saw in the previous presidential election, I credit Charlie. Over a 20% turnout from voters in between the ages of 18 to 29 voted Republican.
That was incredible.
I've always said, and it's tough to say, but Democrats do a good job at getting to youth, getting to people my age. They make it cool to be a Democrat, and Charlie made it cool to be a Republican. So I'm not sure where we go from here.
40-point swing.
But it was it's great to know that Indian River County is having a flag wave in memory of Charlie and everything that he's done. So it's the best way I can compare this is to the JFK assassination. It was right there on video. You saw somebody lose their life, a brutal execution, and I can open my phone right now and there it is. We have it. Everybody's sharing the video of the moment he was shot and killed, and it's just extremely disturbing that we have access to that. We see that, and it's hard for people to not be just to look at it and not be, not care for a person's life and a person's well-being.
It doesn't faze them.
Humanize somebody. This is where we get, and I don't know really who we can blame. They'll bring up assault rifles. The latest report I saw was this was a 30-06 with some aftermarket parts on it. I used a 30-06 when I would go deer hunting up in Pennsylvania. Quite frankly, I think this is the media's fault. When you call somebody a fascist, a racist, you call them Hitler, you call them homophobic, you call them a threat, you call them an enemy of the state, anybody who has mental health issues, they're going to take matters into their own hands and do exactly this. So I look forward to seeing what what I believe Tyler Robinson is the one they have as the suspect. I can't wait to see what his motive was in this shooting.
Yeah,
he was a 4.0, had a full scholarship, and came from a very straight, right-leaning family, and within a matter of 2 years was on Antifa Discord threads.
Wow.
And his whole life, everything that he learned growing up, his military family, dad was a police officer, everything. Proud of him. There's a video out there of him reading his scholarship letter for $32,000.
Wow.
Full ride, full year. And in 2-3 years, he became this.
Wow, that's heartbreaking for the parents.
Another disturbing thing is,
And his parents turned him in.
Throughout this whole process, I've been getting better updates on social media than I've had on Fox News or TMZ or Newsmax. What I find the most disturbing part of this is where you have people who captured footage of the killer getting into position, being on the rooftop, kind of like in Butler, Pennsylvania, before President Trump was shot at. Why aren't you calling law enforcement? Why aren't you dialing 911? Why are you taking this video and posting it on social media and not doing anything about it? I don't understand it. And to see, some of the videos of the left celebrating his death, I mean, it's extremely disturbing. I don't know where we go from here. I don't know what we do. Charlie was a father. He was a husband. He had 2 young kids. Had a beautiful wife, Erica. It's such a shame.
Do you think that we need to bring back debate class in high schools to teach our students how to debate civically, and have that conversation?
Well, in Charlie's memory, this is what I'm going to say to that answer. I think the most important thing, this is what Charlie always said. I've been watching a bunch of his videos in the recent days, and an interview he actually gave here in 2017 when he was visiting Indian River County. He encouraged students in high school, read everything that you can on the right and on the left. You have to understand where everybody's coming from, and that's something that he was so great at. He was just so smart. He was so intelligent. He had so much knowledge. He didn't go to college. He was all self-taught. He was book smart, as you can say, and he read everything on the left and he read everything on the right, and that's why he was so great at debating. You have to start somewhere in order to debate. And
he had a very keen sense of authority, though, too, about how government and things work. It was just truly amazing.
He read it all. He read the Federalist Papers. Karl Marx. I mean, you name it, he read it.
And it wasn't just that he read it; it's that he absorbed it.
Yes.
It stuck in him like glue. He's like a prodigy almost, because he whatever he read, he soaked it up like a sponge, and then he articulately delivered it. I mean, he changed so many hearts, minds, and souls, and even women that were going to have an abortion, they didn't have it because he changed their heart, mind, and soul. He was saving lives every day.
I don't think he was shot to be silenced. I think he was shot because what he was saying, people were listening and people were changing. it's just so sad because I've been hearing a lot on Fox. Those that knew him, he had a great relationship with our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and a relationship that we all strive to have, and there is some comfort in that. But what angers me so much is I don't think it was his time. He could have done so much for this country and had a great political future, or continued what he was doing at Turning Point. It just too soon.
He would have been president of the United States one day. Instead, he will be. One of the things that I learned is that he is the youngest politically assassinated person in United States history, which is incredible considering a 31-year-old managed to, in 9 years, change the discourse of a college campus. College campuses across the United States, he went into the places where kids were learning this stuff. And the shooter, who apparently learned what he learned while off at college, he changed his whole paradigm to where he thought Charlie Kirk was hating so much that he had to take him out. And that's, to me, is very interesting how Kirk went into these places, book smart, educated himself, and you see things with professors where you're just blown away by the depth of understanding of this young guy, with people who are paid six figures and have tenure to teach stuff that they don't even know about. And I just thought it's incredible to me. His faith, I would say this, he's a martyr first and foremost. And I don't say that lightly. That's what he was taken out for, was his faith, and how his perspective on Christianity and his perspective on our government in that paradigm was so vital to what he was doing. And that's what I mean by authority. He had this heavenly eternal authority just embedded in him. And he understood the perspective of the founding of our nation in a way that very few people do. And it's truly amazing to me. He was martyred for his faith. He carried that equally in every conversation. It wasn't just all politics. It wasn't just all government analysis. It wasn't all these. It was just the whole package at all times. It's truly amazing. And that's why he was able to save a lot of people, like you said, Joann, just from the pro-life discussions that he had.
Yeah, some of them were really intense, and challenging for him, but he would sit there and listen. And he would say, okay, let me let you finish so I can, respond to that. And he would always just keep it level, even when people were, insulting him, and, he would just let them do it. And he might say a couple of things and then they'd be off. But he just was so articulate, so intelligent, and such a deliverer. He was definitely doing the Lord's work.
Well, one of the things that I just was truly stunned by, there's this conversation he's having with a transgender female student who hasn't done any of the physical process of actually going through it, because she doesn't know. She doesn't know what to expect. And you could see the concern about possibly taking these drugs and going through the treatments. And he says, do you mind telling your story? You don't have to. So she tells the story, how she came to this conclusion. And then she's like, well, what advice would you give me? He's like, well, first, he goes, no one's going to tell you this, but I'm just going to say, don't do the treatments yet. But first, go and get your head sorted out with someone who will listen to you. And I was like, man, I didn't say head sorted out like I just did, but he just said it in such a compassionate way. And they were just having this dialogue back and forth. And you could see her just like, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do exactly what he said. And I just thought, well, that's just God working at all times with someone who he didn't turn down any conversation. He just didn't turn him down. And that's
like he was prepared for everything.
Yeah.
He was prepared for all the conversations. It was incredible to watch.
And it still is incredible, and there'll be more like him. I guarantee it.
Well,
People always say we don't know who's going to take his place. It's sort of like when these iconic type people come along who just have that sort of Svengali prophetic understanding that we all strive for. They just have it like he did. People go, who's going to replace them? There are going to be quite a few.
So Taylor, you're a young politician now, and you are in these tough times, and I think you're going to do good things in the city. There's things that need to be worked out, and things that you're going to have to make some tough decisions on. Um, I've seen you on the dais, and I've seen you be very compassionate and even say when things are difficult for you. And I love your honesty there. What do you see really as your next challenge, and how you want to really focus and see the turnaround?
Well, the biggest thing is, the councils before us, my forefathers, they were very ambitious with all these major undertakings, nothing small, major undertakings like relocating our wastewater treatment plant. That's a multi-million-dollar project. Reconstructing our city marina, that's another major project. And, as we discussed already, the Three Corners project, getting that done. And, the city of Vero Beach, we're basically landlocked. We have about 17,000 residents. There's really no room to develop. So we have that consistent annual tax base that we generate most of our revenue from, to make sure that it goes back into the community. And, over time, things have got more and more expensive, especially insurance, COLA, cost of living for most of our staff members. The positions alone, costs have increased. If we want to bring good people here to do a good job of what we expect, a very high standard, they're going to want to be paid for it. And the toughest thing right now is Indian River County as a whole is expanding. As I drive up Indian River Boulevard now at 43rd, they're clearing these lots for, not just for a couple dozen homes. These are hundreds of thousands of homes going in on these properties. And where do they all come to enjoy, public beaches, the public parks, all the amenities we offer? They come to the city, and it takes money to make sure that we have an area that's well maintained. And that's been one of the toughest things. Another thing is, when I first got to City Hall, the software here, I was telling Thomas about it a little bit. We're operating in, the early 1990s.
Flintstone stage.
Early 2000s. Just not too long ago, our Vero Beach PD actually had paper payroll. One of the reasons why I think the city missed its annual audit is because of the software. We have new technology out there. Being, I guess, I don't know what I am, Gen Z, Gen X, but being somebody younger, I know what technology is out there, and we have to incorporate it at the city level, because when we do, we make government more efficient, we make it more effective, and it's easier for those who work on a city level to complete simple tasks.
Mm-hmm.
So Taylor, getting back to the Three Corners, what is the plan going forward? What is your idea for downtown? Because as that project starts taking off, downtown is it could go by the wayside in a way, because the competitive nature of just the marketplace. And secondly, with all this development going around the city, and John Coutinho is right about this, the city has become a transactional hub where people come in, the county seats there, so on and so forth. How do you guys get more of what you rightfully should get with the tourist development tax? How can you sort of start moving in that direction rather than buying advertisement to get people to keep coming here?
Thomas was at the REC meeting, so he already heard some of this, and I'm happy he brings it up.
That's how he came up with that great question.
Which, by the way, Thomas, that REC.
The only reason I'm asking is because I didn't listen to you at the REC.
you guys did an awesome job.
I'm just kidding.
I'm so pleased with the new board, and it's been quite some time since I attended a meeting, not by choice. Since Eli was born, things got a little bit more difficult. I need to have my list of priorities in check. But I was so blown away by that REC meeting and how you conducted business. We'll start at the downtown area. So Thomas brought up a good point. What happens to the downtown area when Three Corners is operational? That's something that has always kept me up at night. What I see, my vision for the city of Vero Beach, we have 3 distinct districts, 3 signature districts. So we have Oceanside, Beachside, we have the riverfront, which is going to be Three Corners, and the downtown area, it's going to be the historic downtown district. What makes the downtown area so special is all the history along 14th Avenue, from the theater, from the old courthouse, the Heritage Center. All of those buildings are over 100 years old. I think what attracts people about historic downtown districts is that fact that you can take a step back to that postcard moment. And that's something that I was real passionate about, preserving our downtown area and preserving its history, and making sure when we do brand it, we brand it accordingly, that, Joe and Jane, who visit from the Northeast over on the beach, they're getting tired of the sand and the ocean, the margaritas. They pull out their phones, what's there to do in Vero Beach, and they see the historic downtown district. So on Tuesday, I asked for the city council if we can officially rename the downtown Vero Beach area the historic downtown district, and they all agreed to that. And why it's so important now is because we're doing a wayfinding program. We're getting new signage, so we're going to make sure that branding of the historic downtown area kind of all aligns together, and it's all one unified brand. Thomas, you brought up the Ocean Drive area. That's our hub. That's where tourists are coming to. That small piece, maybe under a mile property, but unfortunately, the city doesn't receive the bed tax. That's been an ongoing fight for as long as I've moved down here. I've always heard the city, complaining we don't get the bed tax, we don't get the tourist tax. It all goes to the county. County says it all goes to tourism, which is all great and fine, but there's many things right now that, for example, the Humiston Boardwalk. Who would have thought a boardwalk would cost $4 million? And right now, the city of Vero Beach, we haven't allocated the funds. We haven't, we didn't anticipate that cost would be that high. I'm sorry, I'm getting stumbled up here. I'm reading the notes that I would like to address.
Well, in reality, you had that project approved for the $1.6 million sidewalk thing. It was pretty, no boardwalk, but it was very well done. It looked great, and it was in budget. I mean, it was responsible government at its core compared to what was there anyway.
And that's what made that's what makes being a representative so tough, because you can think one thing, but if you have an outpour of people who have a deep connection to the history of the Humiston Boardwalk, all these stories that I've heard of, residents. This one woman, her husband passed away. That's where she would go to find comfort, the Humiston Boardwalk. There's a strong emotional appeal to that. But anyways, I have a great relationship with Representative Brackett, who used to be the mayor of Vero Beach, and also Senator Grahl. And there may be, some movement next legislative session of them going after not so much Representative Brackett, but what I was told from Representative Grahl, there may be some interest in getting that bed tax for the city of Vero Beach. So
is that like a remaking of how the TDT gets distributed?
I'm not sure. She's, that's in her hands. That's a level of me. But
we'll have to pull her on the board report.
I'm optimistic. I hope so. It's not like the city's going to take that money and buy a yacht. Those funds, that money is going to go back to that district, to the parks. Pavilions are a lot. Who would have thought that, lifeguards, those lifeguard stands, you would think maybe back in the 70s, it's just a couple of pieces of 2x4. Now it's like something that can land on the moon. Those alone are like $300,000 to $400,000.
Originally were 2 years ago, they were $150,000 at like the boardwalk. They've probably doubled.
Wow.
So I'm optimistic. We'll see what happens, but you know,
I'm not a fan of those lifeguard stations because ever since they put them up, I'm not allowed to bring my dog to the beach.
That's because they can see your
you
dog.
can take your dog to the beach. It just can't be at a guarded beach.
There you go.
I know that because that came up a couple days ago.
Yeah.
So your dog has to be at an unprotected, unguarded beach.
Joann,
Yeah,
do you have access about, here it is, what about bringing the benches back to the downtown park area? I can't see who did that, but if you give me the time, I would
It
like.
comes from our producer, I think.
that's So, before I was on council, this was a big issue with the parks, and that issue was it came from the unhoused and the homeless population who would hang out at that the Rotary fountain, the fountain at Pocahontas Park. They were urinating in the fountain. They were defecating behind it. Unfortunately, somebody stepped on a needle at one point in time. So, in an effort to discourage them from gathering at that location, they chose to remove the benches, and they thought, that was the answer to it. But what ended up happening was they just went one block down to 14th Avenue and sat on those benches. And those benches were eventually removed. So what the city has done over the past couple of years to get those benches back, which some have been replaced, something that I brought up to council, you may see some benches in the downtown area having a bar in the middle. So those, so if they're homeless, unhoused, they can't loiter there, they can't sleep on a bench. We have some with those. There's something called a CPU over at the Vero Beach Police Department. It's basically a cop who walks the beat, and his whole job is to either on bike or on golf cart be at Pocahontas Park, be on 14th Avenue, and we actually have one over at Ocean Drive as well. And in this most recent budget or budgeting hearing, we allocated 2 more positions to CPU. So we're going to have somebody who serves during the morning to evening and somebody evening at night, and having a presence of Vero Beach PD there in the park. I drive past the fountain almost every day on my way to work. It was really bad in 21 and 22. It's completely different now to where you have the Rotary, I think, is going to, I think they have a plan to either reconstruct the fountain or refurbish it. I'm not sure what they have in store. I saw they're doing something with stones. I think they're taking the front off, or they're taking the water out and planting some vegetation. So I look forward to that. Something needs to be done to bring them back. I agree. Something else that at the state level has been super helpful, and it's something that I brought up to city council before I got elected. Camping ordinances. I forget exactly the bill that Governor DeSantis and the House passed, but the no camping, you think in your mind camping, all right, a tent, but now they've expanded it to where, if you're homeless and you're loitering in one area for a certain amount of time, that's considered camping. And the city is currently looking at updating the ordinance to reflect that. So if there's somebody there in the park, we have a purpose to go in and to ask them to relocate to somewhere else, because Pocahontas Park, as the REC meets there, it's such a great area. The Heritage Center, a lot of kids play there.
Mm.
We need to make sure that area is cleaned up.
So what if they refuse to leave? Or what happens?
Well, it gets to the point with this no camping ordinance where they have to relocate or move.
Mm. Well, it's good that we're getting more police officers out there because we have, fentanyl that's in our county, and we don't know where it's at. But to have more officers out there just makes it a lot more safer. People don't really stay out too late in Indian River County, but still, I've seen some like where on US 1 towards the what is that, Subaru? There's like a little house there where they all go, and the buses where they get to sleep in. is over there, and we see a lot of them gathering over there, and they're out on the sidewalk, walking around. So, but you don't know if they're just homeless or if they're homeless and under the influence. So it's nice to have more police officers, at least just driving around or on bikes, making sure that the sidewalks are safe,
It's been night and day. Exactly, Joann. And, you don't have to, rethink the wheel on your own. What I do is I look at other areas where homelessness is at the worst, like Seattle, California. West Palm Beach has had this issue. Miami, they've adopted, practices that we can easily adopt here at the city level. And basically, I would say the number one thing that I keep coming back to is you have to make them uncomfortable to be there. You have to have an officer hovering or being in that area, and they won't meet there. I haven't seen any in recent days. We'll definitely see what happens. I know they know the seasons as well, when we're in the off season and when we're in the high season, and we have more of our population here in the city. So we'll see. We do live, I have to credit, in incredible, wealthy, and terrific areas where we have a lot of people give to these various organizations that help homeless people. You can come in and they'll help you with a resume. They'll help you. They'll give you professional clothes. They'll help you achieve an interview. The only big thing there is you have to pass a drug test. They have homeless shelters for veterans. They have homeless shelter for women and children. We have so many homeless shelters. I think close to a dozen here in Indian River County, and under 10 in the city of Vero Beach. So the option there for somebody, if they want to seek a better life and get back on their feet, there's a path to it.
So Taylor,
Charlie videos.
Yeah, we should. But so Taylor, we've kept you a little bit longer than expected, but this has been really a good time with you, and you've shared a lot of important information, and we'd love to have you on again. 15 seconds, tell your viewers how to reach you and how to help support you during your election.
15 seconds, as Joann mentioned, I'm up for re-election, 2023. I'm sorry, I got elected in 2023. We're in 2025 now, November 4th. And what I'm trying to push right now is voter turnout. In 2023, we only had 35% of people coming out to vote. Imagine going home to your parents after taking a test and showing them you scored a 35%. Would you be happy? Would they be happy? So I'm trying to get more people coming out. I've been very fortunate. We've raised quite the funds. I'm doing a bunch of videos right now, mail pieces, getting those designed, and the whole messaging behind it, because I feel confident being reelected is, voter turnout, get out to vote. So that's what I'm doing right now. You can reach me. It's tdingle@covb.org. Joann, Thomas, please share my phone number if somebody wants to call me. On my Facebook page, I try to stay very active, Taylor Dingle, and Taylor Dingle for City Council, I believe it is. So I'd be very honored to earn your support and vote, and to hear from you if there's anything that I can do for you. If you live in the city, you're my boss. I'm here to work for you. So I appreciate it so much having me on Indian River Connections, and finally making the connection with the both of you.
And you have to know, people, that from a marketing standpoint, the Taylor Dingle campaign is designed and authorized by Mrs. Taylor Dingle.
That's right.
We make a
That's
good
all the work. She's a brilliant design artist. Just brilliant.
We make a good team. That's all you have to do. If you want to get in politics, find somebody who's a digital creator or digital marketer, then
and has your same name.
That's true too. And you are set. She does so much. We're such a great team, and we're even stronger now that we have Elias Taylor, part of the team now. So in the future, with the campaign signs, all we have to do is just add Elias above the Taylor. So whenever he runs, because that's my goal, I got elected at I think 27 or 28. We need to get him around 25, 26, so he can be the youngest ever elected city council member in the city of Vero Beach.
Thank you, Taylor.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Warrior Shield Foundation is here to unite, honor, and provide support for veterans, first responders, and Gold Star family members. The foundation will enable them to find the help they need through direct assistance or by connecting them with our shared vision network. Using data-driven models, we provide solutions that make a long-lasting difference. We, along with our partners, are dedicated to bringing together like-minded groups and individuals who have committed to making a difference in the lives of our hardworking, everyday heroes. We bridge the gap by connecting warriors or their families with the assistance they deserve and require, such as service dogs, wheelchairs, counseling, scholarships, and team-building retreats, to name a few. You can help right now to make a difference for those who have helped and protected us all. Warrior Shield Foundation, selflessly doing for those who need it most.
It's a long way to home, but you won't take the hard road all alone. Just look to your left and look to your right. You were born to fight.
Indian River Connections brings you the first source you can watch for truth on board decisions in Indian River County. The Board Report, where taxpayers and policymakers intersect. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite platform to get notified when we go live on Fridays at 7 p.m. Visit IndianRiverConnections.com for more.
Hey guys, welcome back. That was a great interview with Taylor Dingle.
Yes, it was.
I think so. John, we can't hear you. I think so. I've never actually heard Taylor speak. I've seen him on social media, but I thought that was a pretty great interview. Definitely. Yeah. I didn't catch his age. What was his age? He's pretty 20. How old is he?
I think he's 20. I think he's like 17.
I don't know if he's 17, but I mean, totally
I think he's
bright.
like 25. He's around 25, 26.
And I think that's what the city.
27 years old was when he was elected.
Yeah, I think that's what the city.
Okay.
The city and county really needs to get a little modernized with their forward thinking and impacts of some of those decisions, like the benches and I mean, like he said, his predecessors all had these humongous ambitions, and it's just like, someone's gonna have to approve the budget down the road.
They don't follow through. That's the problem. You don't have continuity. Because I asked that question about the benches because I worked at the Chamber of Commerce back before COVID, and then I was always spending time out on the benches on my lunch break, spending time downtown, people walking around. Now nobody walks around downtown. Nobody sits under the benches, under the trees. It takes away from the downtown atmosphere. And then when you go down there now, it's like a whole different world, and they don't have an answer for it. There's no answer for when they're going to put the benches back, and they're going to hire another police officer to drive around. They should have did that back then when they had the benches. They didn't have any police officers patrolling the downtown area back then. I know from personal experience. So it takes away from the downtown. It's not the same. There's no forward thinking. There's no planning ahead. It's always reactionary. Take the benches and that'll solve the homeless problem. That doesn't solve the problem.
They're going to find a place to sit.
Well, you can find a place to sit. There's plenty to sit, but it just there's no
on the jungle gyms or wherever.
It's supposed to be a downtown area. It's supposed to be a place where you can walk and spend time, but it's not that way down there anymore.
No, it's true. It's pretty dry. It's like
dry.
I drive. It's dry. It's like you don't see a lot of gathering and people, being in the area.
I was down there on Wednesday around 5 o'clock, and there was a gathering of a few. I don't know if they were homeless. They looked a little homeless at a bench with 2 police officers. So I was like, well, there's a convention.
We need our county commission and the city council to be more younger, like Taylor. We need to get a few more people that aren't ready to retire or retired and doing it because they're retired, because that forward thinking comes with younger generations that have the forward thinking. They're living and changing the times. You got these people that are still that grew up in the, I don't know, 1940s or 30s or 50s, and they're still living in a different time zone. They're not.
Well, they also self-serving, because a lot of the guys in the county commissioner, like Daryl Lohr, he's collecting his third pension, because he has one from the state, then he's going to have one from the county, then he's going to have another one from the county, because he served those 3 different positions. They're all setting themselves up just like Joe Fletcher. They set themselves up for they're down the road for themselves. It's self-serving. That's what they do. But we elect these people to do it, so we allow it to happen. It's up to us to make the change, not to allow them to dictate what they're going to do.
Well, I'll tell you what. Speaking of the county, and its big, huge 8.5-hour meeting that actually Joann sat through.
Oh my God, that was so hard.
I watched a lot of it.
I sat through it till 2 in the morning.
I watched a lot of it.
I was following up with I did watch that whole thing.
I think I missed some of it because I nodded out.
I'm not surprised you nodded out.
But yeah, that was so hard to watch. And the hardest thing to watch was to see Flesher's reaction on his responses, and he almost came off like a bully to me in some.
Almost exactly.
Yeah,
that's what
because when Ehrman wasn't on Flesher's side, Flesher was like, "Really? Are you sure that's the decision you want to make?" Like I was like, "Oh, he's like New York cop now, playing the psych thing." I just was watching it. I was like, Flesher, man, you don't represent me. That's not cool what you're doing right now. It just was so hard to watch. And for the first time, I got to say, Susan Adams did a great job at delivering her message on how they did the addendums in the past.
That was I did watch that part. Because at first, you're watching Flesher try to explain himself. Well, I don't think we should be doing this. Well, he's going on. He's making all these like emotional pleas. And he's not the most emotional person because he's so dang calculating about what he's saying. He's very guarded. That's the way he comes off. And that's why he ends up looking silly. Because Adams came with a full thing of reality checks. She had totally analyzed the audit done by Ryan Butler.
Do we have any clips of any of this stuff?
We've got, let me see what I got here. Do I have Adam?
Do you have her where she's analyzing the Ryan Butler's audit and how all this got discovered with the payment and everything, and his recommendation to actually you guys should discuss the addendum and vote on it. And if you don't,
Oh, when they were arguing about the discussion?
Yes.
That was like in the beginning.
Because she schooled him. You're right. She flat out schooled.
Well, she schooled him here. Let me see if I could find it. I think it's this one. Let me pull it up I'm going to do the share screen because I've got it here.
Okay, so switch over here.
Yeah.
There you go.
And that's item 14A alpha, which is the addendum for the county attorney.
Do I do share window?
Agreement.
You're good. You're live.
Okay.
Thank you.
Nope, it's not that one. That's not the one I wanted.
The opportunity.
Sorry.
You're good.
That's not the one I wanted. Video share. Nope, I don't usually do this. This is the one. This is it. This is where I'm at. Add to screen. Do you see it?
We have to remove her first.
Oh, remove her. Add to screen. I think this is it where she's telling him. Let me play it.
Number 1, the issue of pay progression should be addressed by the board on September 9th, which is what we're doing. An addendum to the contract should be approved by the board before pay progression can be paid. And I would ask that addendum be crafted similar to what Attorney Schuler has indicated in hers, which is very similar to language already existing in Mr. Zito's contract, for consistency with the clarification that it should come to the board for ratification and that we should approve the anniversary pay prior to the anniversary date,
Joann.
so that they can avail
Pause there
themselves
for a second.
of the same benefits that everybody else.
Hold on.
Let's explain this real quick.
I thought I had
Just to remind the board that.
Go ahead. Let's explain it.
Okay, so what's going on here is pay progression. So every year there's a COLA allowance, but there's also a pay progression. It's 2.5%. And every employee gets it, except contracted employees. Now, most contracted employees have the pay progression in it. These two, not specifically, have it. And if you read the lawyer's contract, there's no mention of it. She signed a contract without it being in there. If you read Tikanich's contract, the wording's different. And I'm surprised in this whole discussion because I think personally Adams pulled a fast one here to get these both to get pay progression. I think you could have made a case for Tikanich getting it. No criminal activity took place, as Ray McNulty wrote.
Yeah.
But in terms of the lawyer, her annual compensation, this is her. No, this is Tikanich. I got her contract. I just went and pulled the contracts because I was like, no one's talking about what it says in the contract.
Well, she was reading in her contract, talking about what the employees get and what it says she gets.
Well, in her contract, listen. Yeah, and I'll read that for you. So she gets $205,000 salary payable in 26 biweekly installments, blah, blah, blah. Attorney's salary shall be increased by any general cost of living increases granted to other full-time non-contract employees. But that's not the pay progression. That's just a COLA. Attorney shall be deemed to be an exempt employee for the purposes of Fair Labor Standards. That's it. Now, Tikanich says he gets $205,000 as well. In addition to salary, county administrator's compensation includes car allowance. She gets a car allowance as well. County administrator's salary shall be increased by any general wage increase granted other regular contract county employees. Very different wording. Not just
and that's
COLA,
not the wording they read during the
right.
meeting.
Hers doesn't say it.
No,
So
hers
she's
says
not
something
As
different.
far as I know, especially a lawyer of all people, like you sign that contract for what's in that contract. If you're due for a raise every year, it's going to say you're going to get a 15% raise every year.
Yeah, or you're going to get paid. You're going to get those increases as the rest of them do. Now, so she goes into section 5 in her thing. Except as set forth herein shall be subject to entitled to the same rights and responsibilities and benefits of other exempt county employees. So she's trying to take all these benefits that you get, health care, this and that, and claim it's compensation and salary. Joe was right about this.
I feel like he is too.
He was right for her. For him, he was wrong. Because it's a very different written clause for salary. And that's what was confusing here. They just...
because they should have been separating those two.
Exactly, but they ran them together.
Yes, it was all mushed up. But what I was upset about is when he went and talked to each and every one of those county commissioners, they should have told him, like, well, Joe Ehrman took responsibility and said, hey, I just took his word for it. I didn't even read the contract,
Exactly.
And I was like, okay, so that's fair to say it's not his fault only, but it's your fault as well, because you guys are the ones that have to be in charge of that and vote on it. And then, what was I going to say? So he admitted to it. Flesher said that he had a different conversation with him. And I thought it was funny that Susan Adams almost said when she responded, she was in opposition, that the word you're lying almost came out of her mouth. she said, I don't, she changed it, reworded it, and I can't remember what, I think she just said, I don't believe it transpired that way or something to that effect. And then Laura just kept saying, once you sign a contract, that, you're responsible for what you signed, to that effect. But I'm like, at the same time, none of you guys, none of them really knew what was in the contract that they were handing to him to sign.
Well, and the other thing is that Takanish goes and meets with him privately and then makes a decision that is supposed to be made in public.
Right. And they admitted to it.
And they admitted to it. And so now we're having a vote publicly to amend contracts, which is not uncommon. But that increase should have been put on the agenda to be voted upon and amended at the time those conversations took place. You can have those conversations, but you can't make decisions out of the public view. There's a question here of whether or not, sunshine was violated, in my view.
Right, because Flesher said right there, he told him, no, don't put that on the agenda. Don't put that out there.
Well,
at least that's what Flesher said.
Yeah, I was trying to figure that conversation out. That's what he was talking about.
Yeah, he was like, he came to me and talked to me, and I told him not to put it on there, but he put it on there anyway at the last minute.
So
and I'm like,
which ones of these are up for re-election this year?
It'll be Daryl Lohr
and Flesher.
And Flesher.
Just those two.
Yeah, I should run against Lohr. He's in my district. Maybe I'll run against him.
Yeah, you should run against him.
I should run against him just for might as well. Can't
we
hurt.
need to find somebody to run against Flesher. He's going to be like, Joe Biden.
He rides under the radar because he's in Sebastian. So like everybody he's like the anointed mayor of Sebastian. So he just gets voted in every time he runs.
Maybe Damian Gillis or Gillum.
Yeah, that's all they got. That's all they have to offer is Damian No Name Bar Gillum. That's all they got to offer there. That guy's.
Oh my gosh!
There's someone over there who can run in District 2. I mean, District 2 comes into Vero a little bit. So you would hope.
It's bad.
Yeah. What was I going to ask about? Oh, the meeting the day after. What was that one about? This one was about the
I have
budget.
not viewed that, so I can't speak.
Yeah. I know it was going to be, the topic of discussion was going to be the sheriff's budget, but I don't know. That was another long one. I think that one went for over 9 hours.
Oh my gosh. No, I couldn't make it to any more videos after watching the one on the night.
And think about this, guys. We're doing this podcast called The Board Report, where we're trying to report on all these board meetings so that people could get it slimmed down and cut down from 8 hours to us squeezing it into.
And we realize you're working overtime for it.
I took the bullet the other night, man.
It's like we're trying to watch these stupid 8-hour meetings of jargon and you just garbage that these guys are talking about, and then trying to condense it down for people. It's like that's how far divided things are.
Yeah, we could definitely use help.
Right?
Breaking
Exactly.
down 9-hour meetings.
Yeah, exactly. So if anybody out there wants to help watch some of these meetings and give us some feedback.
You do the first hour. We got to pick somebody for 1 hour.
When I first got involved in this stuff, watching a school board meeting for 4 hours was enough, or standing there for 4 hours was enough.
Yeah, but on that note, though, anybody in city council or in any of the municipalities in our area want to come on and talk during election season or raise awareness about their mission or whatever. I know they've got sunshine law they can't violate, but like you can definitely talk just like Taylor did.
What we did, what Taylor did. That was perfect. That was perfect. We needed that situation to have somebody step up like him, a young politician in town. Charlie Kirk just gets it taken out, and then he comes on and wants to talk about it. And so that's a good space for us to build from, because I think that now people will see he's willing to come on a show like this and talk about what's going on and be honest. That's it. Transparency, truth can stand on its own. These other people don't want to come on shows like this because they're afraid they'll say something that might double talk them when they go back to meetings.
Joann,
we can pretty much count on no incumbents coming on. That's for sure.
No.
Yes,
well,
sir.
So Joann, since you watched 8.5 hours, there's an interesting thing that I happened to view in that 8.5 hours that you also viewed regarding that gentleman who owns 7,000 acres and has been here for 4 years and can't seem to develop it based on land use restrictions, I guess.
Yeah, let's pull that video up.
All right, yes.
This is interesting. Watch this.
Finally.
So this guy comes up.
Welcome. It was earlier today.
Thank you so much for the time. Thank you so much for everything you're doing for us. I really appreciate it. And I am not a voice of one person. I'm a voice of 400 people.
He's the voice of 400 people.
Yes.
We are a group of people who bought 7,000 acres west of 95, that is in the opportunity zone, distressed citrus grove, to make it our...
Hold on. Stop. I'm going to pause it. Look at her.
I know.
Oh, yeah. She's like horrified by what this guy is saying.
He's like, what's he trying to build? Wait a minute. What?
You have to watch this. This is very important.
Okay.
Yeah.
Professionals all over the US, and we are in semi-retirement phase. I'm close to 50, and we have some of our friends, and we want to make Vero Beach as our home. That is what we planned 4 years back, and that is what we've been doing. I also met Commissioner Ehrman to talk about some of our plan. And we are all very highly educated software engineering professionals, like in the West Coast, all these New York and everything, and all these people. We want to make this as a home. And when we found this place of Vero Beach, which is in the right heart of the center of the Florida, right on 95 NC Highway 60 junction, we thought, hey, there's a huge opportunity here. There's a huge potential here. And the corridor, that 60, that connects all the way from the West Coast to East Coast, and the 95 and the turnpike, we thought that's an excellent location for us to be in. It's a great connectivity.
Okay.
But what I found over the period of last 2-3 years is, we are talking about urban sprawl. We are talking about limiting growth. We are talking about ag use and everything. And what are the country's problems today, if you see? Affordable housing. World is moving towards digital. There is more and more need of warehouses. Highway 60 on the west is a great location that's going to be a excellent spot for warehouses that can deliver all our goods online. But we are not doing anything to that effect. It was declared as an opportunity zone to bring growth, but we are not doing, as a county, we are not doing enough to bring that growth or the financial muscle power that is needed. And we are looking at all these things. I feel that, okay, is this county welcoming, or the city welcoming for the new people to come and make their home? So that's what I've been thinking about. Did we make the right choice? And we are talking about limiting and making it only ag use land. This is a land that we bought to make homes, build houses, make retirement homes, and making them, reducing the density, making them ag use and everything, that will not serve the purpose of the landowners. I'm not sure how much it serves for the county commissioners, but these are some of the things. My request is to keep this in mind, is that a lot of people wanting to make Vero Beach as a home.
Can I ask a question?
Sure,
So
sir.
which policy are you referring to, or we're converting ag to, or we're converting something residential otherwise to ag to prevent growth? Because I don't know that we have done any or proposing any future land use map amendments as part of this area-based comp plan amendment process. I don't think we are adjusting any of the future land use designations.
Agreed, sir. There is no
Is
like
it a
that. But what I
general
want to share is
statement, or
about
is it
general.
I mean, so I'm just trying to understand.
Yes, sir.
So you've purchased property that's ag, and you want to convert it to residential? Is that what?
It's not ag right now. It's owned for a AG2, which means you can have
It's
one
ag.
dwelling unit. Yes, it's ag, and then it is in the prime location. Now, if you look at the entire 95, all the way from the north to south, it's all high value properties, high growth properties, and it's on the right intersection of the 95 and 60, and we are limiting growth. That's a excellent location.
You can stop it whenever
for a
you want.
High value growth, and then you can have some.
Okay.
He's got 7,000 acres, him and his
Yeah.
partners. A lot of
Divided by 400 people is 17.5 acres.
Well, that's not the issue. These guys want to develop. They want to build. They want to allow businesses to come in. They want to allow manufacturing to come in. They want to build housing developments out there on this 7,000 acres. You can do a lot with 7,000 acres, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, the interstate is the modern river. Yeah, it's what it is. It's where your commerce. You're sitting between 95 and the turnpike.
Yeah.
And he wants to use the land out there for something other than solar panels.
Yeah.
And he's having a real hard time with it. And this speaks to you've got an education system that's now number 5 in the state, a lot of STEM, a lot of different things. You've got IRSC sitting here that's developing into a 4-year institution. And someone like this should be on your radar to develop the businesses that will have that high skill education put to good use to keep people here in this county. And I wonder if this county is really up for that.
Well, I wonder
this particular
who,
leadership, because this speaks to your platform back in 22, Joann.
it does, but I wonder who that someone is. He didn't mention any company
Yeah.
names.
No.
There's no, it's us people. If you
Yeah.
ask me, it sounds like a setup for the people that bought the 400 acres in Texas.
I don't know who that is. These guys own 7,000 here. They want, I'm speaking more philosophically and theoretically. You've got a mall right now that's completely empty other than a church and a few stores.
I know, I get
Yeah,
that,
but
why
this
didn't he
guy-
mention any
this guy
company
wants-
names?
Yeah, there's something seems way off about this. I want to
know more.
I'm very
Well, yeah,
concerned.
we
I'm
all
very
do, but-
concerned now, Thomas, because they want to build housing. Who the hell's going to live in these places? Who's
Well,
going to
that-
buy these places? Nobody can afford rent and a home right now, let alone them building more houses.
I don't think he's
and more
worried about.
businesses and more
It's
stuff.
it's not a question of housing and all this other stuff.
Well, he
Because
said that,
affordable
though.
housing, though, affordable housing is a buzzword to try and get these
Yeah, it's
people to
stupid.
approve
Right.
projects.
But he also mentioned high value housing.
Yeah.
But he
talked
also
about
mentioned business development, warehouses, and different.
Yeah, but it sounds like
warehouses.
another.
The
It sounds like
digital
another. It sounds like another tradition to me. It sounds like another 15-minute city type stuff. That's not what we want. We don't want that kind of growth. That's
Well,
not good.
and you can work all that out, but the
Yeah,
reality
but
of it
that's what
you
these guys
want-
are trying to do, and it depends on what kind of money's backing these people and where that money's coming from. Because BlackRock and Vanguard are the ones that are buying up all these properties and then renting them out to people because they're building homes, new developments, and they're renting them out to people. You're not able to buy them; you have to rent them. And it becomes a 15-minute city type situation where they start building these small Dunkin' Donutses and these small Taco Bells and these little buildings, and they make it a 15-minute city. That's what they want to do off of this turnpike. That's what they're trying to do. And you got to find out where the money's coming from for this guy. Who is this guy? He comes in here talking all this.
We don't even know his name. He didn't even come up and say his name from what company.
My point
and I'm
in talking
representing.
about this is not about who this guy is necessarily.
I'm
though he
concerned
has a
about
lot of, And I would be concerned by that, you know.
Yeah.
But the 15-minute proposals, the city proposals, are usually not by private developers. They're usually in coordination with governments, and the governments make the rules of the 15 minutes, and that makes them stick. Because I can tell you, you know, the 15-minute cities don't work without government intervention to actually put the laws in
but you
place.
don't know where this
to
guy
make it happen.
who's behind these people. That's the
That,
thing.
well, you're going to find that out in the long run, but
Hopefully,
at the same
yeah.
time, you still have the ability of someone who's got private property rights, and to be stuck with all this land and not be able to develop it is very un-American.
Well, that's like a contract. You should know what contract you're signing. You should know you bought ag land.
Absolutely. Well, I think he's finally figured that out.
But that's what they did in Texas. They bought all those 400 acres to build the Islamic town, and they ran into permit issues. They ran into land issues, and they had to fight that all out to get in there. They totally ignored what they were buying, what the restrictions were on the land, and just fought it out to get what they wanted. So that's why I'm saying the guy walks up, doesn't announce his name, doesn't announce any corporation that he's with. He's with a bunch of people. The only people I know that have done that are like regular people like you and me are the same type of people that bought those 400 acres in Texas to set up. To set up their
look. I'm not here to be suspicious about who or what. I'm more speaking to the philosophical future of this county.
I know, but I'm not saying that we're here to be suspect. I'm just putting it out there as a receipt, so that people, whoever's watching, and they want to find out about the situation. That's why we do this show, is to let them know, like, this is kind of suspect. So pay attention to it. This is a situation.
I agree with John, and I do see where Thomas is coming from, that this is another one of those forward-thinking development, and we got to look at sustainability for the county. So we do need to develop.
And it's tax base, because when you're doing 72% on property tax, and it goes away, and the state reduces your revenue somehow, they're going to pay for obviously some things to make this work. But this is one of the ways bringing businesses in, attracting business in pre-existing developed areas or whatever, or changing some of the development codes to reflect, hey, we're business friendly. We want manufacturing. We want these things that we've talked about. Maybe this guy is your guy. Maybe he's not. That's another whole question entirely. I don't care about that, but I do care about that philosophy.
That's the thing. This county's never been business friendly. There is no. They don't develop that part. There's no real jobs. There's never has been, and these guys aren't going to do that. I don't think these guys.
I agree with you. This isn't the county commission suitable for the growth and the forward thinking that the county needs, especially with property taxes and all that.
What
they're not geared up for it.
What would have made me feel good about that is Joe Ehrman held up a piece of paper and just read all of the people that were opposed to it, because it is ag, and people don't want it to change to development. But at the same time, Joe met him and didn't say anything about that conversation and tell us anything about that company. So I'm like, what? Why even mention that? You're going to mention that you talked to him.
I have no idea how that guy got reelected.
Question everything. He got elected because he's fourth generation Ehrman. That's why he got elected.
I don't trust my county commissioners because they're not inquisitive.
Because they're all a part of the process, and they know how to work the system. So they'll meet with the guy and he'll find out what's going on. And if it works in his favor, then he'll lean towards helping the guy out. But that's what they do. This is what this is. This is what we're dealing with here.
Because I'm totally, Thomas, I'm totally for, we need to use that outside area to bring real good jobs so that people can go out there, work, and come back and live in these nice homes, and the money just feeds back into the community. But when I see something like this, it's just so half-assed. I'm like,
it wasn't the most well presented thing. I think that guy
it was
came
terrible.
Frustrated.
It was
Yeah, and
almost
then
it was almost just like it was them notifying us we're going to
they're
see more of
coming.
this. We're going to see
They're
more.
coming.
Well, we're going to have more of these talks,
Yep.
you know, like the
We
10
are.
feet at the mall.
Mhm.
And this probably, like you said, not the last time we're going to see of
Mm-mm.
him or somebody from their.
And we
Especially
are.
since
You're absolutely right.
Especially since the Oslo Road exchange is almost done for 95 in Oslo. So that just gives you one more exchange, one more opportunity to build on 9095, you know, because it's the corridor. It's going to Oslo is just going to be like Route 60 now, you know, so it's going to turn into that. So you have to be very mindful. We just have to be, you know, just be alert, be awake and aware of what's going on.
We're not going to have a Buc-ee's though.
Ugh.
Good.
I don't know what the big deal is about Buc-ee's. I like
know.
Wawa.
Same here. I know.
The 100-foot sign. That's the
I
big
know.
deal.
Exactly.
All right, guys. I think we've given it a good go at it this week with Taylor and Thomas and John and Joann. And you guys had anything else you wanted to bring up?
This
No?
is my Charlie Kirk hat. I got this from his
That's
organization
awesome.
back in the day.
Yeah, and don't forget, be
Love
on
that,
State Road tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to be doing honoring.
Are you going out there live, Joann?
Yeah, I want to go out there. I got my new road thing. I want to try it out.
It's 10:30. Yeah, here's the cool thing. It's 10:30 to 12:30 at 58 and 60, and then also in Riverview Park in Sebastian, there's a concurring celebration out there too.
All right. I got a bunch of Trump flags I'll bring with me.
No one has
it's
the
not
Charlie
Trump.
Kirk flag though.
Oh,
It's not a Trump thing. They're trying to make it focus on Charlie Kirk. So
Okay.
bring an
Right.
American
Melania.
flag.
So I won't bring them then. All right, cool.
You saw
Bring
Melania
him
Trump and the president at the 9/11 memorial celebration, memorial remembrance. They were just so grieved. You could see it on their faces. It was just, you know, I think Charlie Kirk was very dear to them and the whole Kirk family. So
He was to all of us. I was behind my desk and I just said prayers the minute I saw that. I just cried and I just started praying to the Lord, you know, thinking about his family and his beautiful children that he's left behind. You know, the anger of these people didn't just take away a wonderful man, but they stole the father of these girls.
yes,
You know, and the husband of this wife, they raped these girls of having a relationship with their dad.
that's Angie. My wife Angie's been saying that.
It's the most horrible thing, you know.
In London, where the statue of Winston Churchill, there was thousands of people just out there in London honoring Charlie Kirk. Thousands, and I mean it was just huge. And you're like, huh?
He definitely touched a lot of people.
Well, he traveled around the world.
Yeah.
Yep. They're still happy that he kicked all those people at Oxford's ass in a debate.
Yeah.
Is that where he did the table thing and they rang the bell? Remember when he would do the sit downs at the
No, that's
college?
at that 25. He debates 25 leftists.
Well, I sent you
One of
guys.
the first he did that.
I sent
The
you guys.
Oxford one was where he had the lady standing there, and he went up and he goes, "I'll give anyone £1,000 if you can tell me a name of an American Trump has deported." And someone from the audience yelled, "Kilmer Abrego!" And he goes, "No, he's from." He's a resident of El Salvador. Next. And he looks at her and he goes, "You lied in your presentation. I expect more from an Oxford student."
Oh yeah, I remember seeing that.
Yeah. So.
All right.
Okay.
All right,
God
good show,
bless
guys.
his family.
Yep. We'll see you guys next week, right? So far.
Charlie's wife is speaking now, I've heard. So.
No, well, let's let everybody get out of here and we'll catch up with Eric Kirk. Thanks,
All right.
Thomas.
All right.
Thanks, Joann
Good
and
night,
John.
guys.
All right, guys.
You guys have a good night.
All right.
Indian River Connections brings you the first source you can watch for truth on board decisions in Indian River County. The Board Report, where taxpayers and policymakers intersect. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite platform to get notified when we go live on Fridays at 7 p.m. Visit IndianRiverConnections.com for more.